the Toyota Carina E is back in my ownership. Let's do a little recap then. So 1997 on a P plate, Toyota Carina E Kudos Edition, 1.8 petrol engine, automatic gearbox. She is a big cruising automatic barge, which I absolutely love, driving big cars and obviously owning them as well. She currently has 97,000 miles on the clock. And can we all just take a minute to remember that this car is rare because it's not only a Toyota Carina E, but it's the Kudos Edition. So there's only 7 left of the 1.8 automatic in the Kudos Edition. Only 7 left on the UK roads. She's rare. And the car's tashier than I remember. So you might be thinking, well, why did you sell the car in the first place, Amber? And there was a couple of reasons, but 2 kind of major reasons come to mind. But when I bought the car anyway, first time round, there was an engine management light on, and because this is an old car, there was no way to do a diagnostics check on it. It drove absolutely fine, and it did do whilst the light was on in my ownership. But the fact that I couldn't do a diagnostics check and fix the engine management light was just annoying to see that light always there. And also when I bought it first time round, I couldn't open the boot as one of the hinges had like snapped, so I needed a new boot hinge. I could not for the life of me find a Carina E break-in, and I could not for the life of me find one boot hinge. So I had a big car with a big boot, which I couldn't use because every time I opened it was on the slant and it was a bit dodgy to open and close. I sold it in the first time round mainly because of the engine management light on that I couldn't cure myself, and also I didn't know what was wrong with the car, and because I couldn't use the big boot the car did have because it had a broken hinge. But before owning this car for the second time round, I knew the engine management light had been sorted, and someone, I don't know who, but thank you to who you are, has fixed the boot hinge so I can now finally use the massive boot the Toyota Carina E has. Yay! It stays up and it works and everything. I've got a hinge. So what happened when I sold this car then? Who bought it from me and who did I buy the car off of this time round, second time round? So I sold the car to a kind of, not being funny, a dodgy looking guy. He turned up with a low loader. We'd agreed a price, and then when he came he like lowballed me hard, and well, not lowballed me hard, but he lowballed me. I was like, oh god, you probably, if I don't sell it to you, you're probably going to nick the car anyway. So I just took his offer and he took it well on a low loader. Then a couple of weeks later I saw a trader guy selling it, and it didn't have any mention of the engine management light that I sold the car with. And I messaged the trader, it was up for 1,200 quid or something, and I messaged the trader guy saying, hi, I used to own this car, have you managed to sort the engine management light? And he said, yeah, it was a sensor. And with that, I think I said I'd love to own the car, but I didn't buy it from the trader. And sure enough, the car was no longer for sale, as obviously the trader had sold it. And then I thought, oh, I wonder who's bought it, because I wish I could have done, but yeah, I wonder who's bought it now. But luckily, I then saw the car being driven around very locally, and it was basically a single mother was driving it around with her kids in the car, so it was being used as a family run-around car. Weirdly enough, when I used to work at one of the main dealerships that I used to work at last year or so, we had to park down a side road for work and walk in a bit. And I actually, by total coincidence, where I used to park for that job, the Carina lived down one of the side roads, and I couldn't believe it. And I thought, is it just a fluke? Is this car just visiting a house in this particular road? But it wasn't. I kept seeing the Carina parked up at this same road time and time again. So I thought, not only do I know what the owner looks like, I know where the owner and the car lives, just by, like I say, coincidence. There was also a time when I went to my local supermarket, the car was in the car park, and I thought, oh, do I wait for the owner to come out and say, can I buy the car off you again? I was also tempted to knock on the door one day and say, I'm the previous owner, I'd like to buy the car back off you. This single mum bought it off the trader, and she'd had it for around a year. And I was always in conversations with my other half, Martin, and I said to him, if ever that car comes back up for sale, I want it. I don't know what it is about that car, but I just like it. I like Toyota Carina E's. And before I knew this car was ever going to come back into my ownership, I was kind of always looking in my search history for Toyota Carina E's. There were some around, but I always knew that if I wanted another one, I wanted it to be an automatic. I wanted the silly sunroof. I love a sunroof. I love an automatic car. I was on the hunt for another one of these generally, to be honest, but I didn't expect me to buy my old one back. So as you would have seen in my previous upload, we got told we had to move house. Stressful times, a time when you kind of shouldn't be buying cars. But what happened when we were in between house moves? Toyota Carina E appeared on Facebook Marketplace, for sale by that single mum lady that I'd seen driving it around. And I said to Martin, guess what's come up for sale at totally the wrong timing? My old Toyota Carina E that I've been saying, if it comes up for sale, I'm going to buy it. I said to Martin, I'm going to have to buy it. Now, it was up for a price more than I sold it for to that dodgy guy. But I messaged the woman and straight away pretty much. And I said, look, I used to own this car. Can I come and view it? I didn't want to sound too keen, but I was like, look, I used to own this car. Can I come and view it? And she said, yeah, tomorrow evening you can come. There's some person coming up, blah, 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 but you can come sooner if you want. And we kind of were talking again in Facebook Messenger about, are you open to offers? And she came up with a price. This time round, I bought it cheaper. Or did I might have bought it for the same price I sold it for, is kind of what I'm saying. First time around, this is very confusing. First time around, I bought this car from that dealership that I used to work at. I used to work at Nissan dealership and they shared the site of Toyota, and this came in because the owners were getting a newer Toyota, so they got rid of their old one, this one. And I bought this car ridiculously cheap. I think it was £250. Then I might have sold it for around 600-ish to this dodgy bloke. And then I've basically bought it back for that kind of price this time around. But as I said, it is annoyingly tatty. When I saw the car, I was like, oh yeah, it's quite tatty actually, isn't it? And that might have been another reason why I sold it. So that's the story basically. I kind of knew the owner just by seeing her around. I knew where the owner lived. I knew where the car lived. And I was just hoping and praying the car would come up for sale because I was looking for another one. But when this car did come up for sale at the wrong time, I had to buy it. I'm just going to be honest. Thanks to my brother for lending me the money. I have paid him back now. But if it wasn't for my brother lending me the money, then this car wouldn't be back in my ownership. Oh, and guys, I am fully aware that if you had asked me the question of, out of all the cars you've ever owned, Amber, which one would you love to buy back? As much as this would have been on the list, this isn't the first car that comes to my mind, trust me. But as I say, I have unfinished business with this car. I have an unfinished modification that I bought but never got round to putting on this car, modifying this car. Had to get it back, didn't I? So when I sold the car with service history, so I had a book that was pretty full with stamps, to be honest. So when I went to buy the car, I said to her, oh, where's the service history? She said, what service history? I don't have any. So once I'd done a deal with the lady on buying the Carina E back, I said to her, right, can I transfer the car into my name? Can you find the V5? Can you get the V5 out for me? Turned out she'd lost it. But when we were there, she couldn't remember getting one or anything. So I was like, oh, I've bought a car before without a V5. It's a right pain in the... But luckily that problem was sorted. Turned out the lady had lost a V5. I managed to reapply for one in her name, and then it obviously got transferred into my name, so I now own the car. When it comes to the service history, the car not having any this time around, luckily when I sold the car, my end, I actually took a photo of the service history, so I've now been in touch with the garage that used to service this car, and I've managed to buy a completely empty original service book, and the garage have kindly agreed to stamp it up and send it back to me, so the car should have some service history coming its way. And that's nothing dodgy, by the way. They're literally going to replicate. I'm going to send them a photo of what I want them to replicate, and they're going to basically replicate the service history the car did have. It doesn't have now, but it will have again. So that is it for this video then, guys. Just to say, I bought back the Toyota Carina E. Kudos edition is back in my ownership now. You know why I now kind of sold in the first place, and you might be wondering why have I bought her back. Basically, I do love big automatic cruisers, plus as I said at the start of this video, she is actually a rare car, but she's a bit tatty around the edges, so I will do another video of everything that's wrong with my Carina, and I do have plans for this car, and you can mark my words when I say that, and do a video of the plans that I plan on doing to this car. So this car will be a little bit modified. Again, you can mark my words with that because I already have the parts from owning this car first time around. So this car is going to get modified. There's also something wrong with the car mechanically, not engine wise but suspension wise. Parts are on order to fix that annoying thing as well, but we'll talk about that in another video. Just a short and sweet video to say this is car reveal number 1. The Toyota Carina E is back. Now look out for another car reveal video. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do with that car, to be honest, but this car I plan to improve it, modify it, and like I say, just watch for yourself and see how I go with this one. And as always, guys, I invite you to comment in the comments below. Let me know if you're glad that I bought this car back into my ownership. Let me know if you're surprised. Let me know if you like this car, if you hate this car. I don't mind. Stick around if you want to see me do more stuff to this car, because I generally will be. And thanks for watching this. Thanks for watching this one. See you later. getting all my hand signals wrong. Like, what is wrong with me, man? So that is it for this video, guys. Just to say, I have bought the Troy service history book, and the car's tattier than I ever. These on the roads. Blah blah blah.